Welcome back to Sidetracked. So, I'm Jason, in case you didn't know that. We did it out of order.
Jason? What? Everything seems so weird now.
I'm Jason.
I guess I'm Mike.
He is Mike. We just did this out of order. I could have said I'm Mike. That would have been funny too. Maybe some other time. I'll play that joke later.
What a knee slapper.
But go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say. So today we are marching on Washington again.
We had the ladies' march. We have had other marches.
Lots of marches.
Lots of marches lately.
Well, before we get into that, I did want to provide an update because
the best march.
The best, most important march, the one that will decide the fate of this country in 146 days and 45 minutes.
Oh, exactly 45 minutes?
45
no
minutes
seconds?
Exactly.
Ooh.
No seconds.
Well, now there are seconds, but it doesn't matter. Anyway.
The Juggalos March on
Washington.
DC. And if you haven't had a chance to watch that episode yet, go back.
It's there.
Watch the Juggalo one.
I think it's called Juggalo's March or Juggalo March.
It's called the Juggalo March. We struck controversy with that one. But
Did you pull that off of our website?
what, the Juggalo March? Or the
yeah, I have a timer. I have a timer on our website keeping track of the Juggalo March.
I'm not even supporting our website.
Michael's giving traffic to juggalomarch.org or whatever.
I felt like I needed to, right?
Sure.
.com one day.
Yeah, someday we'll be able to afford a .com, but right now it's a .net. got sidetracked.net. Someone owned .com and it was expensive because you have to if someone owns it and they're not doing anything with it, so they just sit on it and try to sell it to other people. So we have a .net, everybody.
Anyway,
we're from the early 90s.
So people are marching on Washington. Well, it happened yesterday.
People have marched
on Washington for the name of science. Important march, I would say. So they said
it's the only thing that's going to be left once the robots take over.
Science,
yes. Let's discuss that.
Back to that again.
2 episodes ago.
Every episode, we're just going to recall
automation.
Yes, automation. What's the point? So, new administration seems pretty hell-bent on not science. So, this Earth... Well, is the 22nd Earth Day or is it... It's in the middle of the week. I don't know. When is Earth Day?
Earth Day was yesterday.
It is yesterday. Okay, so on Earth Day, they marched on D.C., and they said it wasn't a political march. It wasn't a bipartisan march or a partisan march. It was a march to support and push the importance of science.
Mm-hmm. Good march.
March, yeah. It's an important march. Some great science. It's some if you have a chance, just Google. There's some... Of course, science people have really clever signs. Why wouldn't they?
Of course they do.
So, the concern is that science is going down the hole.
Because it kind of has been for a long time.
And the United States isn't ranked really high in science.
No. We used to be all right.
We hire
other people.
Illegal immigrants. No. Not illegal, just regular immigrants, HB1s. We find the best candidates. Do it the American way.
Yeah, just steal the talent from somewhere else.
Steal the talent. Bring them overseas because we just don't produce things. It's
like soccer
scientists.
and hockey and lots of other things where we just take good people from somewhere else to fulfill the American product.
So I was reading an article regarding the Science March, and it said that should scientists be politicians?
Are you asking me my opinion?
I am sending the question your way.
So, I think that when you're at the point where it's, not to go back to the last episode again, when it's reality TV star or a scientist, I would take the scientist for sure. And I mean, once we're in this willy-nilly thing where anyone on the planet can get elected,
yeah,
I would take a scientist over a lot of other people. So am I any less Do I believe that Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse Tyson could learn about American policy better than Donald Trump? I do, which means that since we have an uninformed president right now, then why not? At least they know about something. They're expanding on their knowledge of one thing that they know very, very well, as opposed to just like knowing a little bit about nothing and then trying to be a president.
And I think this march comes kind of in the wake of fake news, right? Like
fake news.
Not even fake news, just fake information. And I've done this before too, right? Like I'll see an article and I'll share it, and then I'll go back and read it again and be
source
like,
it.
"Son of a gun, half this isn't right." Or I see people post things all the time, like so New York State passed the legislation for free tuition for SUNY schools, right? Someone posts an article, and it's just a blog of a guy like, "I don't think this is fair. I have to pay for college because I go to a private school. That's not fair."
Well, then don't go to a private school, you big dummy.
Yeah, things aren't free. It's a blog rant, so everything's now just opinion based. It's just.
Well, I just did it the other day with the Star Wars trailer thing. The original Force Awakens trailer that I was comparing was like actually edited a little bit to match better, and it's like that's fake news.
Well, that's
I did it. I did it myself.
And I'm gonna drop it again. We're really doing a great job at going back to
referencing old episodes.
So,
yeah, everybody get really involved.
You're gonna be left in the dirt if you don't. So Adam ruins everything, right? Like you can go to a science publishing website, pay them $300, they'll publish your article. And what he did is all he did was send him his script for the show about science, and they published it. And now it's a certified science journal.
Yeah,
it has the fake stamp of approval, and that's what kind of I think that's what this kind of march is about. It's like
that's not the way
we
this
have
should
to have
work.
we have to have a conscious agreeance. We have to talk amongst each other and come to a conclusion before we say this is fact.
Right.
This is true.
And that's the way things used to be. When you couldn't just like pay for things
before the internet.
Yeah. Where it was like, these 100 very smart people have all agreed that this is a thing, and as such, it is a thing, and they put it in a book, and that thing is a fact.
Yeah.
So I guess I guess I don't know. There's so many facts that are facts now that are used to make other facts that it's like a circle, but now you have no one governing how these new things are introduced, or who gets to say what's real and what's not real, and who gets to put it wherever it goes. Like it used to be like, no, you have to get through these 100 steps to put it into this science book that goes out to your kids. Yep. And now it's like any Joe Smo idiot could do exactly what we're doing right now and be like, Earth's flat, and then put it on the internet and someone can hear it without going through anything, and it doesn't matter. Your opinion is...
Is it Texas? Southern state. Go figure.
Bible Belt.
Added creationism to their science books. Like, and the problem is that people take science and they think it's opinion based. They think that you can just change the facts to be whatever you want.
Well, that's interesting. I was watching, so there's an HBO show called Crashing. It's about a stand-up comedian who his wife cheats on him, and he like goes out to pursue his goal of being a stand-up comedian. He like crashes on people's couch. That's why it's called Crashing. But in one of the episodes, they're at like a baptism or something. He and Artie Lang are at a baptism, and Artie Lang gets into this conversation with a woman about religion and how he's like, I just don't get it. Like someone needs to explain it to me. And he talks about science and she talks about religion. She says, they're really two sides of the same thing. Science is trying to explain it with math, basically, and religion is trying to explain all of this with feeling.
Yeah.
Like people who do science are trying to explain it. People who are doing religion are trying to feel it.
Well, and
it's like, it was profound in my brain. I was like, yeah, I guess that's very true.
Yeah, there's absolutely scientists that are religious, and they say that it brings them closer to God because it's helping them explain things,
all of this stuff
and
that's out there.
Makes it more magical.
Yeah,
in that.
It was just it was just an interesting thing.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, okay. That's a good show, by the way. You should watch it if you have HBO.
I don't have HBO.
Well, then you should
kind of SOL there.
Be richer.
I'll buy more money. So I kind of ranted, but going back to scientists being politicians. I don't know if it's the best idea. I don't know if
it can't be a worse idea than what's happening right now.
Yeah. Well, you have all these experts.
You have white nationalists and people who don't know what the fuck they're doing running the country. A scientist can't be worse. They could be the same or better.
Should it be?
And at least they'll put other scientists into things that are, like the EPA might be run by a goddamn scientist instead of someone who's just like, I read a book once. Like, it's got to be better. It's got to be better than what it is right now. It's got to be. It would be super hard to fuck up worse. Mm-hmm. Compared to the presidents of old, should they be president? Maybe not. But the way that things are trending straight down into the ground, like, yeah, at this point, I'd take Bill Nye over Donald Trump. I just would.
The question is, are scientists just as susceptible to the faults of man, right?
Yes, of course they are. Everybody is.
Yeah.
It's just some people are way more susceptible to it.
So, instead of like a president and
some
Congress,
people can't take criticism about the size of their hands, and some people don't like it when people are like, no, science isn't real. Like, there's a difference between like getting upset about like someone's like not understanding or believing in science than there is someone being like, hey, can you even hold like a Barbie house? Like, look at those tiny fucking hands. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Yes. Do I think that this is a silly conversation to even be having? Yes. But
the problem is
in the current climate, it's not that silly anymore.
Yes, you have to have the conversation.
10 years ago, this would have been a silly conversation. And now this is real life.
That we're having to.
Yeah, that is even a thing. Like, could Arnold Schwarzenegger be governor of California? It's like, well, you fucking knocked over a domino, you asshole. Now everybody who's ever done anything thinks they can be a political figure.
Reagan.
That's true. Reagan was also Reagan.
And then, what the heck was the guy from
I've watched
Law and Order? What the heck was his name? He passed away, though. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But
I watched a lot of punk rock documentaries in the last 2 weeks. I've like listened to them while I'm doing stuff, and like that Reagan era was very good for punk rock. Yeah. Not that he started it. Well, that's the thing. But it was his era was good for it. So he did something right.
Even though Donald's killing the arts programs.
Yeah, maybe punk rock. Maybe punk rock's gonna come back.
Yeah. Oppressive people tend to be good
because it was like Reagan, Bush, Trump. Trump is the last one that we need. We need some good punk rock in this era.
It's been a while since then. Yeah,
it was like late 80s, mid 2000s. Now, I haven't heard. I'm gonna have to do a little research because
it's been a lot of like hand claps and
yeah. Ugh. God, it's just sad to think about how different. It's like, oh, you have to defend science.
Yeah.
And I get that some places they're like, well, science is only real until you're talking about what made the earth go round. And I was like, okay, sure.
Well, and if you, historically speaking, scientists have always been the enemy because they're always challenging. We talked about this about TV challenging social norms. And when you challenge social norms, everyone gets uncomfortable and they're like, nope, I don't believe it. I can't believe it. It's not real. Two gay guys kissing. Yeah. And then you have...
Where they're like, no, some people are just born that way. Yeah. And they're like, can't be! Burn them! Yeah. So, yeah, that's true.
I'm going to do northern impressions of people being offended by science.
Go for it, because I've only got southern ones in my head. I've only got southern southern
it's
bigotry
a
in my head.
stereotype.
It is.
Leads to hate.
Well, nobody in the science community has told me that, so.
Although it was the comedians like, you never want your brain surgeon to come in and be like, all right, what we're going to do now is like, no, we're not. I'm going to go
I'm
now.
going to go to a different brain surgeon. No offense to anyone with a southern accent. Not that this is getting all the way down to the Bible Belt.
I think we're getting to India more than we are to the Bible Belt.
We are. We have a couple people that have listened in India.
I completely forgot where we were going. We were
talking about politicians.
You
and
were
stuff.
being such a bigot.
So, I guess let's switch gears a little bit. So, is it ridiculous? Yes, right. Let's just close that out. It is ridiculous, but this is now a time for ridiculousness.
Yeah.
We've come to a point in history where ridiculous is normal, and everyone has to be acknowledged as a possibility at this point, because at least those people are very educated and critical thinkers by nature.
Oh yeah.
So that's a positive. And then from there, can you teach them how to not start wars? Yes. Okay, then they're qualified, I guess, at this point. That's the way this works. Is science having a revival? So in the 90s, when I was a kid, and when you were a kid, we had cartoons called Captain Planet. Mm-hmm. We had Bill Nye the Science Guy. We had all sorts of things like this that were like about science and about saving the planet.
Not only that, but you had Reading Rainbow. You had it was education.
Bob Ross. Right? Yeah. You had lots of stuff like
that. Bob Ross. We're gonna paint a tree.
A happy little tree.
We're going to paint that tree a friend.
But, I think that the world used to be different that way, where education, and maybe this isn't a conversation at the end of about science. Maybe it's a question about education in general.
Mm-hmm. Intellectualism.
Because there used to be, and I mean, not that the United States was ranked super high and all of these things in the 90s either, but I would imagine that they have taken a dip since then. Because it used to be like Bill Nye the Science Guy was like a cool thing that you could watch where it was just like, it made your brain turn on in the middle of like all this other crap. Captain Planet was like a thing with the same flashy lights and colors as everything else, but had a message behind it that was, I don't know. It was a planetarian sort of all-encompassing message as opposed to just being like a good versus evil thing.
Yeah.
It had different subtones than everything else. And then I feel like there was just a gap for like 15 years. And like nobody cared about science. Like once kids our age were out, like all that went away. Bill Nye went away. Captain Planet, obviously, I mean, cartoons stay for however long they're going to stay. But
I would like to think that reality TV correlates with that, but that's just me.
The dumbing down of America. But one of our childhood heroes is back.
He's been back he's been
vocal. He's been vocal for a while. Yeah. You're right. But he is back on the televisor.
Well, not only that, but you also had Neil
deGrasse Tyson
who came back with Cosmos.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Bill Nye is back. He's back to the Netflixies.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's just how do you cut through ignorance right now? And like we both said, like at times we are ignorant to our own beliefs, that we sometimes share things before reading
absolutely.
Because
it happens.
Yeah, it happens to everybody.
And
right?
it's not. Yeah, and I guess it's not that you cannot allow it to happen to you, because inevitably it is going to, with the way that information is shared now. It's being as cognizant as you can be about what you're doing, right? It's going to happen. People are going to make mistakes. How can you make the least number of mistakes?
Yeah. And how does, and it's great these shows are coming back because you need them.
And he's all of the people our age that loved Bill Nye, right? There probably aren't a whole lot of people older than us. I mean, maybe our parents watched Bill Nye with us or were around when it was on, so they may have a little bit of nostalgia for it. But there are people our age that have kids.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not one of them, and you're not one of them, but there are.
They're out there.
They're out there somewhere. But you're taking this thing that you loved, and then, I mean, depending on how appropriate it is, I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm guessing it's kid appropriate. Yeah. They're sharing that with their kids, and maybe there's only going to be a 20-year gap, 15-year gap in between people who cared about science and thought it were interesting and people who care about science and thought it were interesting, with all the sloppy, lumpy people in the middle that don't know anything. Like, I'd like to think that part of why I consider myself to be rather intelligent. I'm not a genius or anything, but I feel like there are a lot more people when I go and like look at human beings on the street, people that are 10 years younger than me are rough. Like, growing up with the internet, you never had to crack a book to do any research. And this is, I don't want to be like old Grandpa Jason talking about the good old days and shit, but like, the internet makes people soft. It makes me soft. It makes you soft. It makes kids who that's all they've ever known, like, inevitably are going to be softer. Like, you used to have, like, you watch Bill Nye and it'd be like, oh, I can do that experiment. And you do a fucking experiment in your house as like a kid. And it's like, that's cool. And it's like, nah, nobody gives a shit for 10 years. And let's go watch YouTube and Spark Note who reads books? Just go find the synopsis on the internet.
Yeah.
So I think that what I'm hoping, I guess, is that it sparks the same thing that sparked in people our age as kids, in kids that are kids right now.
Yeah.
And I guess you can only hope.
And that's the tough part is, like you said, the internet's there. Yes, it's on Netflix, so it's kind of on like
it's on the internet.
It's on a popular streaming service, so they're more likely to watch it, things like that. Right. But you got to cut through the internet because here's a link. Boop. That's what I agree with. Boop. That's my idea. Boop.
And I have a website.
The earth is flat.
We have a website that we pay money for. And it's not a lot of money. Oh. Anyone can do it. Yep. Like, it's not so expensive that it is like restrictive for normal people to have. So I have a website and I can put whatever the hell I want on it. Yep. I could turn that into a neo-Nazi fucking playground if I wanted to. Yep. And no one's there to stop me.
Correct.
I can do and put out whatever I feel on the internet, and that is very cool and very dangerous. Fucking scary.
Yeah. Because then you can get a following because of that. And people do get a following because of that.
They do.
They're like, I like your ideas.
Exactly.
Look at this guy's
I'm going to
ideas.
make my ideas. And then they become a president. 10, 15 years. And all because of a website. Who knows? You know? And I think part of it is that everyone is so... And maybe it's not part of it, but another thing that goes along with it is that everyone is so Collecti now. Like, everyone has to take a picture of everything they do. Everyone has to write something about everything they do and see and experience.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. And I mean, are we part of the problem? You let us know. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I'm not super active on Facebook. No. Like, I don't post a lot about my own life. I don't post a lot of pictures about my own stuff.
I won't post my life. I don't care. I don't want people to know. I post, like, what's going on in the world. Like, I either have defriended me or have muted me at this point, but it's just all political.
And I just look at like my own Facebook wall when I looked at it the other day, because I looked at someone's and I was like, oh, their Facebook looks a lot like mine, where they post like something they think is interesting every once in a while, and the rest is their significant other like tagging them and stuff. Like that's my both life. Of our entire walls. It's like Michael posts things about political stuff, and then it's like pictures that Katie tagged him in as the rest of his Facebook wall.
Michael's at dinner. Yeah. Michael takes funny picture. Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's Katie.
So like, I think that leads into the same stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, I have a website. Now I can put whatever I want there. So I'm going to take a picture of everything I've ever done. And I'm going to go to a concert and I'm going to hold up a cell phone for 35 minutes recording this thing. And I'm not watching it anymore. I'm like watching myself record a thing that's happening in real life. Yeah. And it's like, are you ever going to watch that again? Probably not. No. So you're missing the first experience of whatever you're doing to document something for nothing, basically. And it's like, it's such a foreign concept.
I've done it because like I'm like,
and everyone's done it. I've done it too.
I'll take pictures and I'm like,
I'll never ever share the pictures.
Yeah.
Like I have hundreds of pictures I just wiped out that I took because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna share this.
And
This
I
is a cool picture.
could have just spent the time at the place I was at,
Just enjoying it.
enjoying the thing and having like a memory of it, instead of being like, yeah, I remember holding a phone up at this waterfall while I was at wherever the hell I was at, or like, you know what I mean? It's just like, so I like to take maybe a picture if I'm on vacation, something's interesting. I take a picture of it, and then I am done, and it's for me, and I might put it on Facebook so that I remember it. But I don't really do it for other people to see it. I don't really care.
And that's funny because as you're talking about, like, you're not experiencing it, and that's kind of like the first step to the scientific method, right? Observation, like observing what's around you, and you're taking it with your. I'm holding up my camera phone as a prop, but I forgot we're not recording.
Yeah.
So you hold up your camera and take a picture of it, but you're not like touching it, you're not tasting it, you're not like experiencing it. You're looking at it through a camera, so you don't get to. Oh, this rock is soft. That's
And you
weird.
can
Why
make
is
it
soft?
whatever you want.
Yes.
Like that's the problem with
Filters.
That's the problem with pictures is that you can take a image of something from an angle or a viewpoint that changes what it is, and you're the only person who knows.
Effect, right?
Correct.
Like, ooh, look at that baby.
What used to be MySpace photos is
When
now
she turns
Tinder.
a little bit left.
That's how
and has
old.
Like 5 horns
Yeah.
coming out.
That's how old we are.
Facebook.
Is that it used to be like MySpace?
Or MySpace, yes. Facebook.
That was
Facebook's
so long
old
ago.
school. Yeah, MySpace is. I can't believe it's still a thing.
But yeah, I guess that's the thing is like why everyone is so interested in what other people think about their life that they're not experiencing their own lives anymore. And it makes a platform for saying whatever you want to say when other people are like, oh, look at the thing that they did and look at the things that they see and look at all this stuff, where you're building a space where you can just say whatever you want. Social media allows you to do and say whatever you want without much repercussion.
Mm-hmm.
And
people will believe it.
yeah,
That's why
people will take advantage of it.
Yeah, vaccinationists or whatever are, and most people know me. I'm tend to lean. Well, I pretty much lean left, socialist type ideologies, and you have like It's not all like I believe in science, right? And science says GMOs aren't bad. Could that change? Does that evolve? Maybe, and then my ideas will evolve too. But science is a collective mind, and they agree on things, and that's kind of the idea of the science movement.
Well, Sprite used to be used, or 7-Up. One of them was like a drink for children to fix an illness when it started. Cigarettes used to cure coughs. Like that's how they used to advertise those things. Yeah. And as time went along, people who are very smart and dedicated time to it were like, no, that's wrong. And then so you stop doing those things with those, like you stop having that belief that if I smoke a cigarette, it'll cure my cold or my cough or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. This tincture. Like, yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like you have to be open-minded to changing the way you believe or what you believe based on people who are smarter than you. Mm-hmm. I acknowledge there are lots of people on the planet smarter than me. There are lots of people dumber than me. You know what I mean? It's the way that it is. So when I see a group of people who are more educated than me, who have been doing something for a long time, and they say, well, this is the way that it is.
Yeah.
It is your responsibility as a human being who is in pursuit of knowledge yourself to at least acknowledge the fact that exists.
And the second part of scientific experiment is the research, right? Yes. There's going to be both sides of the argument. Yes, there are scientists that say climate change isn't man-made, whatever, but you have to... Here's this amount of information. Here's this amount of information.
Right. And the other thing is that even if it's not man-made, it's still real.
Yeah.
So if the ice caps melt, there's still lots of people who are going to die. So whether you believe the thing or you don't believe the thing, it's real. And the proof is that it's real. Not that it's man-made versus not man-made. So what are you going to do to stop it before people drown? Like, let's all get on that same page. Like, who cares how it's happening? Make it stop or slow it down or do what you can.
And even though
It's the people that don't think it exists at all that are scary.
this is snow.
Yeah.
This came from outside. Tell me if there's
Yeah,
global
it can't
warming.
be global warming. There wouldn't be any snow. Like,
So,
yeah.
and like we said, it's great. Like there's this resurgence coming back, but to me, it's almost too little, too late for us to see an impact because right now, like with this current administration, there is a block on advancing technology, flat out.
Yep, and science. And,
Going coal, promoting coal again because
even though for
car
50
needs it.
for 50 years everyone's been like coal's pretty bad for everything.
No, there's clean coal now. Science said so.
Clean coal.
Promoting
It's like a clean public toilet.
promoting oil again,
Everything's
things like that.
relative.
Like this is the pinnacle moment to act now. So it's too late for that.
Yeah.
With this current administration, so we're already going to be behind the 8 ball in advancing modern technology.
Hopefully only 4 years.
Yeah, hopefully. It's up to the current it's up to
up
private
to
companies to do it, like Tesla, like
Tesla was a good example.
Tesla was a great example. We'll stop at Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla will
There's
do it.
so many other examples. I just didn't want to waste our
Yeah,
time.
people that do windmills, and I don't know any.
You can buy a windmill for the price of a cell phone.
Yeah, I don't know people who do. I don't
Not
know
$100, like full price of a
any
cell phone.
companies that do windmills or companies that do solar panels or companies that do all of this stuff. But they're out there.
They're
Whoever they
private
are,
right now.
they're like
They're
the
not getting
Tesla
the
version
funding
of
they
those
need.
things.
Correct.
So they exist, and as technology, well, and that's the problem. If technology was advancing to the point where those technologies got cheaper,
Guess where the jobs would be.
right?
Guess
There-
where the
there's
advancements would be.
there's
Right?
your solution to robots for a minute. But but yeah, do you get everything cheaper and then if a solar panel was something that I could afford within reason, I'd put them on my house.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people have done that, and obviously it's more common in places where it's sunny all the time, like California and wherever else. But that's a big step because how do people make electricity? They don't make it with solar panels. There isn't just like a giant solar panel farm in New York State that's giving us electricity. It's someone with oil and coal and whatever making it.
Yeah.
So the more people you have not contributing to that machine, the better it is for the planet. Mm-hmm. But when you try and cease technological advancement and all the other things that seem to be happening right now, it makes all of those things harder to come by because no one's moving them forward to the point where they're commercially available or affordable.
And that's
And it's just like a big circle.
yeah, it just blows my mind. Like if there was something to coal, like hey, if we develop coal, it turns into fucking unicorn power. Be like, great, let's use a unicorn power. But like, there's nowhere to go with this, and that it's just
Right. There's no end game. There's no end game for coal. Mm-hmm. Coal is bad. It has been bad, and it will be bad.
science.
You burning coal is never going to turn it into water. Like it's not going to happen. So stop. Find something that does. Oh my God. Like there have been engines that have been created for a long time that the byproduct is water. When there's a water problem on the planet, like well, maybe we should do that or sink some money into one of those things that might actually advance humanity instead of the thing that's going to put a big black cloud over it.
Yeah. I guess the kind of depressing conversation. Now
It is. This is our second. Well, we're going to do one super depressing conversation a week from now on.
clearly,
Or every other week.
Every other week, we're gonna have a seriously depressing conversation. Apparently, so I think that right now it's kind of like it's kind of too late. The current administration, like for any like real progress within this current 4 years, because it's going to have to be all private funded, and there's a lot of
And it's the people that march. It's the people that
There's a lot of
show
people
that
that can
they don't
fund it,
believe that
yes.
way. And it's up to those people for 4 years to say, I'm not going to stand for this. This is not what I'm accepting.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try and do something, whatever's within my power about it.
Yeah.
Because no one in the administration right now is going to do that for them. So it's just like protesting the Vietnam War. It's just like all the other things that have been hugely socially affecting or impacting that the government wasn't going to change it. So someone has to take a stand and be like, no, I'm not doing that. and we'll see how it goes. I guess.
Maybe you'll
be reading about that in a textbook in 15 years.
Maybe it'll be like your alternative rock music.
Maybe.
It'll have a resurgence like arts do.
We'll see.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. Do you think scientists should be politicians and controlling our decision making, or
would it be better or worse?
Worse. Well, I think it's gonna be better, but they're humans. They're kind of a fault of being humans.
Fallible. Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Were you pro Science March? Or you pro Flat Earth?
Flat Earth burn coal.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
If you're very right leaning, you probably won't be listening anymore. But that's okay.
We're sorry.
You won't have gotten this far, so that won't matter anyway.
Anyone in the Bible Belt? I'm sorry for Jason's just
sorry
bigoted impressions.
If you are an open-minded red stater.
Open-minded red stater.
I apologize to you specifically.
We're really just,
but not any of the others.
Any chance of expanding.
If you are an open-minded blue stater, I also appreciate you.
All right, guys, we appreciate you listening. Like we said before, if you have any ideas, comment below. Twitter, Facebook, website,
gotsidetracked.net.
Yeah, .net. Some jerks.
YouTube comments, Twitter. Yeah, you already said some of those.
Yeah.
There's probably other things.
There's lots of them.
You can write us a letter, but we're not going to tell you where to send it, so you'd have to be very...
If you get a letter to us, you win. I'll give you $50 if you can get a letter to me.
I will not make that bet because I know there are people that listen to this that know where I live.
Do they?
Yeah.
I'm secret.
Mike's secret. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll put that out there for you, everybody. Mike will give you $50, and we have Sidetrack stickers. We'll give you a Sidetrack sticker,
We'll give you
too.
a Sidetrack sticker. We'll give you $50 worth of Sidetrack stickers.
No, we won't.
Because I think that's great.
That's more than I have. Anyway, good luck, everybody. Google where Mike lives. See you later.
Bye.